coming on. 60 minutes of laughter and song. Come along, come along, come along.
Good evening, and welcome once again to the Cavalcade of Bands, television's top hour of musical entertainment, brought to you each week at this time by our drugstores, and featuring this week Charlie Spivak and his orchestra, the man who plays the sweetest trumpet in the world. You know, it'll pay you to go to our modern drugstores for the things you need to look and feel your best. And you're sure of the very best in merchandise and in service when you shop in our drugstores.
Step right on into the drugstore, examine every shelf. What do you want there? Look around and ask yourself, are you thinking of perfume or powder? A bathing cap to take a shower? Come in and get acquainted with the many bargains there. Bobby pins and aspirins and beauty for the hair. Prescriptions filled, vitamin pills,
cigars, cigarettes,
beauty lotions, drugs and notions, and connectors. You'll find them all in the drugstore and a whole lot more. Courteous service the moment you walk in the door. Now to get on with our happy show, let's go, let's go, let's go. And now, the man who plays the sweetest trumpet in the world, Charlie Spivak and his orchestra.
It's certainly nice being here with you again. And to begin the show, we're going to play an old-time favorite. We certainly hope you enjoy it. Lady of Spain.
Trumpet in the world. Charlie, that was a wonderful opener. Welcome to the Cavalcade of Bands.
Well, thank you very much, Don, and you know for me it's a pleasure to be back on again.
Well, it's sure a pleasure to have you. Charlie, I see that you come from the part of the country that boasts a lot of band leaders as natives.
Well, that's very true. You know, Connecticut is one of the states that claims Artie Shaw and Tony Pastor, Hal McIntyre, and I believe Rudy Valley, too. Of course, he went to school up at Yale University.
Yeah.
And I understand that you come from Connecticut, too, Don.
Why,
Is that right?
I sure do. Just a couple of Connecticut Yankees here doing the Cavalcade of Bands tonight.
Where are you from?
I'm from Stamford. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from New Haven.
Oh, good.
Wonderful.
Let's see. All right. Let's see, Charlie, New Haven. That means you're from the Elm City.
That's right.
You're usually up a tree. I'm from Stamford. That's the Lock City. That means I'm locked up most of the time, doesn't it?
I guess
Well,
so.
all right. Charlie, we could talk like this for hours, but I understand that you played at one time with the Dorsey Brothers, too.
That's right. A long, long time ago, I was one of the members of that band, and in it we had fellas like Glenn Miller, and, of course, singing in the band we had Bob Crosby, and there were a host of other stars that were in it at that time.
Sort of sounds like a musical who's who, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Well, as I said before, we could talk here for another hour, but the show must go on.
That's right.
Right now, Charlie, we'd like to get off to a wonderful start with a couple of young people who are a wonderful dance team. Here they are, ladies and gentlemen, the Haydens.
being out late, walking my baby back home. Arm in arm over meadow and farm, walking my baby back home. We go along harmonizing a song, or I'm reciting a poem. Owls go by and they give me the eye, walking my baby back home. We stop for a while, she gives me a smile, snuggles her head to my chest. We start into pet, and that's when I get her talcum all over my vest. After I kind of straighten my tie, she has to borrow my comb. One kiss, then I continue again, walking my baby back home. Walking my baby back home. Walking my baby back home. We go along harmonizing a song, or I'm reciting a poem. Owls go by and they give me the eye, walking my baby back home. She's afraid of the dark, so I have to park outside her door till it's light. She says if I try to kiss her, she'll cry. I dry her tears all through the night, hand in hand to a barbecue stand. Right from her doorway we'll roll, eat, and then it's a pleasure again, walking my baby back home. I'll find the gift of the eye, walking my baby back home.
Charlie, wonderful song by a wonderful young fella.
Well, thank you very much. As you probably know, that's our featured vocalist, young Tommy Lynn, and the tune he sang is one of our latest London recordings, Walking My Baby Back Home.
Tommy Lynn. We'll see more of him later on.
I think so, yes.
All right. Charlie, they sort of reminded me of a couple of lovebirds when they walked out there.
Yes, they do, don't they? And incidentally, Don, speaking about birds, this act that the folks are about to see next is one of the really greatest bird acts, novelty bird acts that I've ever seen. In fact, a few weeks back when we had occasion to see them work, when we were on the Cavalcade of Bands before, I thought they were, and I'm sure they'll agree with us when they see it. Bob Hammond's Birds.
Okay.
All right, that will do. That's enough waltzing, thank you. Back to your places, everybody. Say, by the way, old boy, we've had enough waltzing. That's very kind. Thank you. Back and take your place. Right on the seesaw. Would you pass the reward, please? Thank you. All right, Billy. Give a nice ride. Very careful. And that'll do, thank you. There we are. Hey, Pat. By the way, old boy, we've had enough waltzing, thank you. And now a little exercise on the horizontal bars. All right, Jim. We've had enough waltzing, Pat, thank you. I'd like to present at this time my little friend Billy. Your place, if you please, Billy. Thank you. A nice, polite bow for everyone. Thank you, Billy. Thank you. I suppose you know how to ring the bell. You do. Will you show us how you ring the bell, please? Just a moment, old boy. We're asking Billy to ring the bell. Thank you. We're going to have Billy count a few small numbers on the bell. Would you like to do that? Oh, you would. First of all, I would like you to count 3 very carefully. Just a moment, please. We're asking Billy to do the counting. Billy. Thank you. Billy, suppose you count 5. Thank you. I'm going to ask you to subtract the 3 from 5. 3, are you... Thank you. And thank you for the correction, old man. One more question, Billy. Be careful not to make any mistakes this time. Yes, sir. Can you subtract 9 from 9? You're quite sure? You are. It would leave us how many? It would not leave any. Quite correct, sir. And so are you. We've had enough waltzing. Thank you. Our little friend Billy is going to represent our very beautiful American Eagle. Show us what a very handsome little boy you really are. Very nicely, if you please. Uh-oh. We've had enough waltzing. Thank you. We have a little soldier bird who's going to march for us, our little friend Harry. And Harry, I'm going to ask you to carry the flag. All ready, forward, march. Pat, we have had enough walking. Thank you. And now we're going to get ready for a little battle scene. Oh, yes, we have a little cannon here. And get this ladder up here. And now we'll go for the fort. Here we are. We're going to present, for the last number of the Bird Act, the battle scene. The little American birds will storm and capture an enemy fort. Our little American bird steals its way within the fort.
Ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful act. Bob Hammond's Birds, and they act just about human, don't they? A wonderful act they are. A great novelty act on Cavalcade of Bands. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dig back into the musical archives of Charlie Spivak and the orchestra. And we're going to listen to one of his all-time oldies. Here's Charlie Spivak playing the sweetest trumpet in the world, and Stay as Sweet as You Are.
Angela mia, you are my guiding star, a sweet Madonna that I honor and I love. You're like the sunshine in all its splendor, and I surrender each time you smile. Angela mia, my prayers are answered now, and I am thankful for Angela mia.
Angela Mia. Very beautiful song, beautifully sung by Tommy Lynn with Charlie Spivak and the orchestra. You know-
Thank you. Here's an instrumental tune that the boys in the band and I get a particular kick out of playing. It's called Good and Tasty, and here it is. To present at this time a new addition to our band, and this is her first appearance with us on television. Here she is, a very pretty little girl, Lynn Robert. Come on, Lynn.
There's a doctor living in your town. There's a lawyer and an Indian too. Neither doctor, a lawyer, nor Indian chief could love you any more than I do. There's a barrel of fish in the ocean and a line of little birds in the blue. Neither fish nor mouse and the wise old owl could love you any more than I do. No, 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 it couldn't be true that anyone else could love you like I do. I'm gonna warn old Dead-Eye Dick, you're the chick with the slickest trick, and every tick that particular tick for you to follow through. Tell the doc to stick to his practice, tell the lawyer to settle his case, send the engine chief and a Tommy Hawk back to Little Rain in the face. 'Cause you know, no, no, it couldn't be true that anyone else could love you like I do. Yes, 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 you know. 'Cause you know, no, it couldn't be true that anyone else could love you like I do. Yes, you know that it's true that nobody else could love you like I do. Like I do. Like I do.
Hey, Charlie, she's wonderful. Lynn Roberts, huh?
Well, I think she's going to be really one of the new finds around.
Well, wonderful. Say, Charlie, you know, our next star, I've just heard on the Cavalcade, you come from West Haven, don't you?
No, New
Haven. You know where West Haven is?
Sure.
You know the Baybrook Club up there?
Yes, I do.
Well, our next star is opening there next week, and I'd like to
so?
introduce you to him. I don't know whether you've met him or not. He's a favorite comic in and about Westchester.
Oh, yes?
He's one of our favorite boys back on the Cavalcade of Bands.
Uh-huh.
Here he is, the Yonkers Flash, Maury Amsterdam.
Don't go away, Charlie. Don't go away. Thanks for the nice plug about the Baybrook, but it's Thursday I open there.
Oh, I see.
You made a small mistake, and we
Maury.
all make mistakes. That's why they have Las Vegas. Now, what were you going to say?
I
Is
was gonna
this
say,
Charlie
anyway-
Spivak?
Yes, this is Charlie
Spivak.
Spivak.
You weren't ever Lawrence Welk at one time, were you? No. I heard of Lawrence Welk and the champagne music. I thought this was Charlie Spivak and his warm beer.
Right.
As I walked in. I want you to boys to go over and sit down and rest your talent. This is a big night for us musically because in the audience tonight, guess who is here?
Who is?
A fellow who is not a part of it at any time. When he is in the show, he knows that you are here. What do you say? Wow. All right, fellas, see you in about 3 or 4 days. Run out and drink a cup of hot lard. Now, before we start this thing, I want all the cameramen to go home. And Sammy Spear can sit down and rest the baton. You have no music to play for me for a few hours. And I have a little favor to ask of the audience. I'm making sort of a research here. Everybody in the audience who likes lima beans, please applaud. Everybody in the audience who likes corn, please applaud. All right, I now pronounce you succotash. Let's get tuned up, fellas, tonight. Tune up music. Peanuts, popcorn, chewing gum, candy, a prize in every package, stolen refrigerators. Get them while they're hot. Can I sell you a letter opener? No, thanks. I'm married to one. Yeah, it's Amsterdam's mellow cello time. The cello that comes to you in 6 dilapidated flavors. All raspberries. One boy writes in and says, I, too, play the cello, and every time I practice, my mother says, say, you sound just like Maury Amsterdam. Then she kicks me in the stomach. I come to you tonight through the courtesy of the Lasagna Mattress Company. Lasagna Mattress Company is the only company that sells mattresses stuffed with spaghetti. That's in case you like to eat meatballs in bed. You see, that's in case you like to eat meatballs in bed. Say, I was reading something in the paper this afternoon. Tell us about it. I will, and he did. It said that the dean of one of the colleges wants to stop necking in college. First thing you know, he's going to want the students to stop, too. Ladies, there is a phony corset salesman on the loose. If he tries to sell you something, don't let him take you in. A little poem. A little poem for mothers. When children are naughty and cranky, don't put o'er your knee and spanky. Or without supper, don't send them to bed. Just grab a crowbar and hit them in the head. This afternoon, I saw a sign that says, ladies ready to wear clothes. You know it's about time? The sign says, ladies ready to wear clothes. You know it's about time? Well, he looks at her. She looks at him. He looks at her. She looks at him. She was cockeyed. Well, look who's here. Who's that? I got a cat that plays football. Tell us about it. Yeah, my cat plays football. Last night she made 3 yards. Tonight she's going to make 6. Ding-a-ling-a-lingle, ding-a-ling-a-lingle. Some sound effects, huh? Hello? Wrong side. Oh, no, it's right. Ding-a-ling-a-lingle. Hello? What? Who? All right. Goodbye. That was the Andrews sisters. Once upon a time, there was a grasshopper. And in the summertime, when he should have been working, what was he doing? Hopping around. And the little ants were busy working, and this little ant said to the grasshopper, you better work, or comes the winter time and you'll have nothing to eat. But all the grasshopper did was, hopped around, and came the winter time. What's out of there? And the poor grasshopper had nothing to eat, and he went over and knocked on the door of the little ant. And the ant opened the door. It was a big door. And she said to the grasshopper, I warned you when you were hopping around all summer, having a ball, laughing it up, yucca-doodling around, have nothing to eat, comes wintertime. And the grasshopper felt very chagrined and abashed. But he was hungry, he was down and out, and the little ant felt sorry for him and took the grasshopper in her home and gave him something to eat. And the moral of the story is, when you're down and out and you're hungry, get yourself a rich old ant. It's been a long time since I've been here in this theater. I noticed that they cut the legs off the piano to make it fit back here. Now, when they play Cocktails for Two, it sounds like Short Beer for One. By the way, I want you folks to know that I come from California, and you've been so nice. If any of you are ever out in Hollywood, have a good time. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack jumped over the candlestick. Big deal. And now a number that I've had, no request to do. I got that, Sal. We have a floor man here who just looks up at me when he wants me to go into my cello solo and goes zoot like that. And I have to do it because the first thing you know, his finger is in my eye. This is a little number I wrote myself that I think is very apropos of the season. You know, this is September, and there is no R in my sweetheart's name, but she looks like an oyster just the same. Music, Horowitz. Frank Bonetta's favorite song, Darktown Strutter's Ball. My mistake, mighty like a rose. Don't worry, I'll find it. I love you. I love you. Every little breeze seems to whisper Louise. Birds in the trees seem to twitter Louise. Each little rose tells me it knows you're nothing. Nothing? Ah, Louise, I'll never forget her. What a voluptuous barracuda. A real Sadie Hawkins Day loser. I'll never forget the first time I saw Louise. It was out at Coney Island. She was wading the water with her skirts just an inch above her knees and her knees just an inch above her ankles. I remember a friend of mine promised to dig me up a date. I think that's just what he did. I didn't know whether to kiss this girl or set a trap for her. She was so ugly, she's like an old general. She'll never die, she'll just ug away. I remember she wore a lovely, lovely dress. There was only one thing wrong with it, her head stuck out. One nice thing about this girl, I never had to take her home. I would just say good night and she'd hop on her broom. Well, she had to be up early for work next day. She kept house for the Gump. Then we were married. And I'll never forget a little stranger came to live with us. Her father, he was a midget. He was also an artist. You see, she used to draw, and her father used to draw. Made him sort of a pair of drawers. And he decided one day to paint her as she really was. And she looked at the painting and just raved and raved. And they took her away next day. And I sort of miss the old man. I don't know, and her, Louise, I'll never forget those little nice things she used to do, like the time she bought me a pearl-handled knife and she wanted to stick it away someplace where I couldn't find it. So she stuck it in my back. And then I wanted a little pet, so she ran out and bought me 5 of the cutest little black widow spiders you ever saw. This girl was a doll, and I say that because her head was filled with sawdust. But I miss her, and she's out there someplace. Louise, if you're out there, come home. Your cage is clean. Can it be true? Someone like you could love me, Louise.
Charlie, one of the most beautiful arrangements I think I've ever heard in the band business is the one you have of Richard Rodgers' beautiful composition, Slaughter on 10th Avenue.
Well, thank you.
Will you play it for us now?
I'll be glad to. on behalf of everyone up here, Ernie and Ronnie Hayden, Bob Hammond and his birds, Mellow Larks, Maury Amsterdam, Lynn Roberts, Tommy Lynn, and all the boys in the band, it's been our pleasure being with you. And until we see you again, good night and thank you.
The man who plays the sweetest trumpet in the world, Charlie Spivak and his orchestra. Well, next week, Cavalcade of Bands brings you the old wood chopper himself, Woody Herman and his orchestra. Yes, sir, and another great show. Until then, this is Don Russell saying goodnight for the Cavalcade of Bands and for the makers of Stopper.
Now that the curtain is closing and the show is through, we have a favor we would like to ask of you. If we gave you a chuckle or grin, folks, we hope that next week you'll be tuning us in, folks. If you'd like to tell us how you like our show, we